Well, there are calls for a review into two Chinese mining companies who've been granted permission to access the most restricted and sensitive military sites in Australia. Joining me now is senior ASPI analyst Malcolm Davis. Malcolm, welcome to the show. I mean, we're talking about the Woomera protected area here in South Australia, which is a top secret military area, is used quite a bit by our allies such as the US for testing and all sorts of things. It seems extraordinary that we would let any kind of Chinese business, and we know the links between Chinese business and the CCP, to have access to such sensitive areas.
Well, exactly. I think that there's no other reason for these Chinese businesses to be there except for gathering intelligence on Australia's military activities and the military activities of our key allies and partners. There is no way that defence should allow these companies to establish a foothold in the Woomera protected area. And basically, you might as well open the door and say, come in and take what you want.
I mean, number one, who made this decision? And B, how did this decision get made? I mean, you would think that it wouldn't take a brainiac to take a look and go, do we want to let China in here? Probably not.
Look, I think, when you're talking about the intricacies and bureaucracies of government, there's many different actors, not all of whom are operating on the same page. And it could be that some person or some group within government have decided to allow this bid to go forward. It hasn't been approved yet, obviously, but essentially it's possible that people within government are not all essentially working to the same plan or perception of Chinese activities. And I think what this speaks to is a requirement for government to ensure that all levels of bureaucracy in defence and foreign affairs and home affairs and all other government departments are all working according to the same hymn sheet when it regards to China.
Surely it speaks to the vulnerabilities within our system, though, doesn't it? I mean, if we are allowing Chinese businesses, Chinese national businesses, foreign businesses to have access to our very sensitive military defence land on the basis that they're doing, exploration for mining, what else could they potentially weasel their way into, or any other country for that matter, with such a great and elaborate excuse?
We just need to be much more on our guard when it comes to China. I mean, the Darwin port fiasco is a classic example where that decision should never have been agreed to allow China to control a key port in Australia. And I think that this Woomera sort of enterprise by these Chinese companies is the same sort of thing. We've seen them with Huawei in terms of trying to control our critical information infrastructure, trying to control our national power grids. We need to wise up and open our eyes to what China is about. And we shouldn't be so naive as to believe everything they say at face value.
Malcolm Davis, thank you so much for joining me tonight.